Welcome back to San IT Tips. Today we will guide you through the questions and solutions from Part A of January 2024 University Examination for Programming in C. Question number 1. Describe the memory hierarchy of a computer with the help of a diagram. Memory hierarchy in computers is a structure that organizes different kinds of memory based on their speed, cost, and size. At the top of the diagram are registers, followed by cache memory, then main memory, secondary storage, and finally tertiary storage. The cost per bit increases as one moves from the bottom to the top in the memory hierarchy. As we move down, access time increases and capacity increases. Here's a breakdown of the levels in the hierarchy, from fastest to slowest. At the pinnacle of the hierarchy, that is at level 0, are the registers. These are the smallest and fastest memory units. They are built directly into the CPU. They hold the data and instructions the CPU is currently working on. Just a step down at level 1 is cache memory. This is a fast memory located close to the CPU. It comes in multiple levels, L1, L2, L3, each with increasing capacity and slightly slower access times. The cache stores frequently used data from main memory, allowing the CPU to access this data quickly without having to retrieve it from slower main memory. At level 2, we find main memory, or RAM. This is moderately fast memory that is larger than the cache. It holds the programs that are currently running and their associated data. RAM is volatile, meaning that data is lost when the computer is turned off. Moving to level 3, secondary storage includes hard disk drives, SSDs, etc. This type of storage is slower than main memory but offers much larger capacities for permanent data storage. Secondary storage is non-volatile, meaning data persists even when the computer is powered off. Finally, at level 4, there is tertiary storage, such as optical disks and tape drives. This is the slowest and cheapest form of memory in the hierarchy. It is mainly used for long-term archiving and backups. The memory hierarchy is designed to strike a balance between speed, size, and cost. Question number 2. What is the purpose of flowcharts in problem solving? Draw a flowchart to find the largest of three numbers. Let's look at the answer. Flowcharts provide a visual representation of the sequence of steps in a process. This visualization helps to understand and analyze complex processes more easily. By breaking down a problem into discrete steps, flowcharts help you analyze and understand the problem more thoroughly. Flowcharts serve as a documentation tool that records the logic and steps of a solution for future reference or collaboration. Using a flowchart to visualize a process can highlight ways to improve it, making the solutions more efficient and streamlined. Let's now draw the flowchart to find the largest of three numbers. Start. Read three numbers which we label as num1, num2 and num3. Check if num1 is greater than both num2 and num3. If yes, print num1 is largest and then go to stop. If no, we have two options left, either num2 or num3 could be the largest. Hence check if num2 is greater than num3. If yes, print num2 is largest and then go to stop. If no, print num3 is largest and then go to stop. This is the flowchart to find the largest of three numbers. Question number 3. Explain the syntax of ternary operator in C. Write a program for evaluating the function y using ternary operator. Y is equal to 1 if x greater than 5, y is equal to 0 if x less than 5. The ternary operator in C is a shorthand way of writing an if-else statement. The syntax is condition, expression 1 : expression 2. If the condition evaluates to true, expression 1 is executed, Otherwise, expression 2 is executed. Let's now write the program for the second part of the question. Hash include stdio.h. Int main. Declare variables int x, y. Provide prompt message to enter value for x using printf. Scanf %d, $x. Read the user input and store it in the variable x. The next line uses the ternary operator to assign a value to y based on a condition. Y equal to x greater than 5. Question mark. 1. Colon. 0. The condition x greater than 5 checks if the value of x is greater than 5. If the condition is true, y is assigned the value 1. If the condition is false, y is assigned the value 0. This line prints the value of y using printf. Return 0. And finally close the main function. Question number 4. Give the syntax of switch statement. Write a program to check whether a given number is positive, negative, or 0 using switch. The switch statement in C is a control statement that allows a variable to be tested for equality against a list of values. The syntax is switch within parenthesis expression open curly brace, case constant 1 colon, code to execute if expression equals constant 1, break, case constant 2, code to execute if expression equals constant 2, break, more cases can be added as needed, default colon, code to execute if none of the cases match, close curly brace. The switch statement starts with the keyword switch. The expression with the parenthesis is evaluated once, and its result is compared with the values given in the case labels. The case keyword is followed by a constant, which is the case label. This constant must be an integer or character constant. If the value of the expression equals this constant, the code following this label is executed until a break is encountered or the switch statement ends. The break statement is optional. This stops the execution of the remaining statement in the switch block. Without a break, the code would continue executing the cases below the matching one till the end of the switch statement. Multiple case statements can exist within the switch block. Default is an optional case which will execute if none of the other case values match. Now let's write the program to check if a number is positive, negative, or 0 using a switch statement. Hash include stdio.h. Int main. Two integer variables are declared, num for storing the user input and casenum for storing the result of the condition used in the switch. Prompt the user to enter a number. Scanf reads the integer input from the user and stores it in num. This line uses the ternary operator $colon to evaluate num. If num is greater than 0, casenum is set to 1. If num is less than 0, casenum is set to -1. If num is 0, casenum is set to 0. This transformation is necessary because switch statements work only with equality. The switch statement evaluates casenum. Depending on the value of casenum, one of the three cases is executed. Case 1 prints positive if the number is positive. Case -1 prints negative if the number is negative. Case 0 prints 0 if the number is 0. The break statements terminate the switch block after the correct message is printed, preventing the execution from falling through to the other cases. End the program with return 0 and close curly brace. Question number 5. List the different ways in which a one-dimensional and two-dimensional array can be initialized. First, we will discuss one-dimensional array initialization. Direct initialization. You can initialize the array at the time of declaration by providing a list of values enclosed in curly braces. Example, int mark empty square brackets is equal to 5, 10, 15. Here mark is an integer array of size 3 initialized with 3 values. Element by element initialization. You can assign values to individual elements of the array using their indices after the array has been declared. Example, mark of 0 is equal to 5 initializes the first element of the array with 5. Partial initialization. You can initialize only some elements of the array at the time of declaration. The elements that are not explicitly initialized will be set to 0 by default. Int numbers of 5 is equal to 1, 2. Here first two elements are initialized, remaining are set to 0. Now let us discuss the two-dimensional array initialization. Row-wise initialization involves specifying each row's values enclosed in curly braces during the array declaration. In the example given, outer curly braces enclose the entire initialization data, indicating a multidimensional array. Each pair of inner curly braces defines the values for a single row within the array. Here matrix is a 2 by 3 array with elements in first row 1, 2 and 3 and in second row 4, 5 and 6. Element by element initialization. This method allows you to assign values to specific elements using their indices. For example, matrix of 0, 1 is equal to 10 means first element in the second column is initialized to 10. Partial initialization, like 1D arrays, you can initialize a portion of a 2D array and any unspecified elements default to 0. In the example given, first row has only 2 elements, third element is set 0 by default, second row is fully initialized. Only one element in third row, others default to 0. Question number 6. Develop AC program to check whether a character is present in a string. Hash include stdio.h, int main, declare the variables. Str is the character array used to store the string entered by the user. Character variable ch to store the character to be searched in the string. The integer variable named found is a flag used to track whether the character is found in the string. Printf statement displays a message asking the user to enter a string. The fgets function reads a string from the standard input, usually the keyboard, and stores it in the str array. The size of str argument specifies the maximum number of characters that can be read, including the null terminator. The second printf statement displays a message asking the user to enter a character to search for. The scanf function reads a single character from the standard input and stores it in the variable ch. This for loop iterates through each character in the str array. The loop continues as long as the character at the current index I, represented by str of I, is not the null terminator. The null terminator indicates the end of the string. Inside the loop, an if condition checks if the current character str of I is equal to the character ch that the user is searching for. If a match is found, the found flag is set to 1 to indicate that the character is present. The break statement exits the loop as soon as the character is found and no need to keep searching. After the loop, the program checks the value of found. If found is 1, meaning the character was found, a message is printed indicating that the character ch is present in the string. If found is still 0, meaning the character wasn't found, a message is printed indicating that the character ch is not present in the string. Program ends with return 0. Question number 7. Compare and contrast structure with union. Structure and union in C are both user-defined data types that group different data types together. However, they serve different purposes and handle data storage differently. Each member within a structure has its own unique memory location. However, all members of a union share the same physical memory location. The total size of a structure is the sum of the sizes of all its members. The size of the union is equal to the size of its largest member, as all members overlap in memory. Since each member in the structure is independently accessible, changes to one member do not affect others. You can only access one member of a union at a time. Modifying one member of a union will override the values of other members. Structures are used when you want to group different related data items that operate independently but are conceptually related. Unions are useful in situations where a variable may need to store different data types at different times but never simultaneously. Example: person is a structure with three members: age, name, and salary. Value is a union with members num, ch, and decimal. Question number 8. List out the merits and demerits of recursion. Write a recursive procedure in C to find the factorial of a number. Recursion is a programming technique where a function calls itself to solve a problem. Let us discuss the merits of recursion. Recursive solutions are often more concise and easier to read than their iterative counterparts. Well suited for problems that naturally have a recursive structure. For problems naturally expressed recursively, the solutions are easier to understand and maintain. The demerits of recursion are: high memory usage due to multiple function calls being stored on the stack. Typically, slower due to the overhead of multiple function calls. Deep recursion can lead to stack overflow on systems with limited memory, crashing the program. Now let us write the recursive function to find the factorial. Int factorial int n. This declares a function named factorial that takes an integer n and returns an integer. If n is equal to 0, return 1. The function first checks if n is 0. This is the base case of recursion. The factorial of 0 is defined as 1. When n equals 0, the function returns 1 immediately, without making any further recursive calls. Else return n into factorial of n minus 1. If n is not 0, the function enters the recursive case. Here, it returns the product of n and the factorial of n minus 1. This line essentially says, to find the factorial of n, multiply n with n minus 1 factorial. Question number 10. Explain how a pointer is assigned with a structure in C and how the member variable of structure is accessed using pointer. Let's discuss the first part: assigning pointer to structure. To assign a pointer to a structure, you must first declare the structure type and create a variable of that structure type. Then, declare a pointer that will point to a structure of the same type as your structure variable. Finally, assign the address of your structure variable to the pointer. Now let's see an example. My struct is defined as a structure with two members, field 1 and field 2. My var is declared as variable of type s. My struct ptr is declared as pointer variable that points to variables of type my struct ptr is assigned with the address of my var. Let's discuss the second part: accessing structure members using pointer. Once the pointer is assigned, you can access the members of the structure through the pointer using two methods. The first method is to use the arrow operator to access members directly through the pointer. The second method is to use the dereference operator with the dot operator to access members. Let's see the example for both cases. The first line uses the arrow operator to access the structure member named field 1 using the pointer ptr. The second line uses the same arrow operator to access the field 1 of the structure and prints its value. Start ptr.field1 is equal to 10. This line explicitly dereferences the pointer ptr using the asterisk and then accesses the field 1 member using the dot operator. The next line uses the same method to print the value of the structure member. We have concluded the solutions for part 1 of the question paper. Please join us for part 2 in the next video. Thank you for watching the video.